Welcome to Kung Fu Epic number 2. I don't know if I should do this with the mask off or the mask on. Let's do it with the mask off. Okay. Let's see. Mask on. Am I dramatic enough for you? Mask off, so you guys can actually take me seriously. So we're going to do it with the mask off, so you guys can actually take me seriously. As I get into the Spider-Man position. Ooh, as I almost bite my ass down here. Alright, so as I jump into the Spider-Man position. So, if you haven't been with my channel, or if you're new to my channel, my government name is James Williams Jr. My stage name, my native name, which under no circumstances whatsoever will change from this point on, and how I will always be addressing this YouTube channel, and when my acting career takes off, I will be addressed only as Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Alright? Since I am part native, and I didn't get to grow up in full heritage or any of that stuff, I have decided that after 21 years, I did the math by the way, 48 minus 27 is 21. So, after 21 years of being a mixed person, I have built myself out now as a Native American. Why? Because being mixed has not worked for me. I am not as successful as The Rock. Rock, if you're listening, I need a job. Marvel, if you're listening, I have a suit and I need a job. And Miguel O'Hara technically is part indigenous. And I would love to be Miguel O'Hara. I'm a little short though, so you might have to retcon my size. But I'll also take the job as Wyatt Wingfoot, or Jay Strongbow, or John Blackcrow. Hell, I'll be the bad guy. I can be your first evil mutant. I'll be Scalp Hunter. Anyway, that's all irrelevant. So as a mixed person, and for 21 years, every time I've gone to a casting call, for those who do not know what that is where you can get your spot as an extra on many films. It's not a speaking role, but it's a start. Alright? So for the last 20 some odd years, I have been going to these things. This was like before YouTube came out. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go and show up and see what happens. Well, it wasn't until like the very last one I went to, not the more recent last ones that I went to, was before COVID happened. I went to I started trying again. I don't know why, but I started trying again. It's like I had nothing to lose, and I did like maybe 2 auditions, and they didn't pick me. That's part of the job. Some people are not going to pick you. But one before that, I told you guys the story before, so if you're new here, welcome. They did Evan Almighty. They filmed it in Crozet. And I was at the cutoff. Me, Bruce, and his wife were the last 3 people before the cutoff. They cut off right at his wife. And then it was him, and then it was me. And the young lady doing the casting is like, everybody behind her, you guys are done. We're not taking anybody else in after her. Which the her was before Bruce's wife. Ex-wife now. Anyway, so the lady was Native. And she looked at me and said, "Are you Native?" And I said, "Not all the way." She's like, "Well, you know, we had a casting call down in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever they were filming Conquest, 1492, the Columbus movie or some shit. And I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go. I asked her to give me a ride, and she wouldn't, and I don't blame her. But the thing is, you know, I never, ever wanted to ever deny any of my heritage. If you've been with Kung Fu Epic number 2, you know that I do not disavow my blackness or my whiteness. However, I have to build myself out as Native because there are no mixed people writing stories for mixed people. You know? So I have to be Native. Now, of course, you're all saying, what? Okay, well, we kind of thought you were Native to begin with. Or you thought I was Mexican. Or you thought I was Hawaiian. I've been getting that all my life. But that was also after finding out that I was part Native. And I talked to you guys about how I've had a whole lot of racism from black people and white people and 2 bad experiences from natives. But like I said, James Williams Jr. wasn't getting any work. Echo Fang Grey Wolf just got started this year. So, we're starting year 21 with a whole new grip, a whole new attitude, and a whole new look on life. Plus, I have more social media now, with the exception of being suspended on Twitter for telling a girl to go knock herself out after she threatened to unalive herself. But I didn't know if she was serious or not, and I'm always telling people to knock themselves out. I got that quote from Brandon Lee in Rapid Fire, and I've never stopped using it ever since. Anyway, moving on. As James Williams Jr., I have never been seen by black casting directors as a black person. And I can't spell anything from south of the border. So if you have a Mexican last name like Javier or Juan, I don't know how to spell that shit. Rodriguez, I don't know how to spell that shit. I can spell Grey Wolf. Greywolf. Not bad. Plus, I had other aliases. I had Brandon Kramer. I had Fang Fang Chang. I had a lot of damn aliases. However, I don't look Chinese. So, Fang Fang Chang, that wasn't going to happen. I have been called Secret Asian Man once or twice by a couple of bros, but that was all in good fun. But that was also reference to my kung fu skills and knowledge, because I am a martial artist. Above all else, I am a martial artist. I started off as a street fighter since I was a kid. Then I became a martial artist. I got real good at martial arts and street fights. However, I could never gain any weight until I turned 37 years old when I was at Fort Benning, Georgia. So, yeah, that kind of ended that right there. Now the thing is, by the time I got to 137 or 140 was my max weight, UFC finally had people 125 and below. But that was like many years too late. Now that I have a hip replacement, so sitting like this isn't taxing that much, but it does hurt after a while. But I also can't sit for more than 2 hours. So I definitely need a job where I can always be moving. So as a mixed person, there are no stories for mixed actors to be. And if they are, they don't give it to the guy who's 5'3". That would be me. And as a mixed person, mixed characters, when you do get hired, depending on your look, that's your character. You know, that's the character in which you are forced to play. So, for an example, I could be a light-skinned brother, but to some black people, I don't look black enough. Now, Rock also had this problem where he wanted to make a movie about John Henry, but all the black people who have been basing on him for not playing enough black characters or not embracing his blackness kept saying he wasn't black enough to be John Henry. And by black enough, they mean skin tone, and that role should go to someone else. So I think the movie was scrapped because nothing else ever came of it. And if anything ever came of it, it wasn't something that came my way. So I don't really know. Because, yeah, I used to follow Rock on Twitter, but my Twitter is suspended. Hopefully it's not indefinitely, but it's definitely suspended. I'll be in the Scarlet Spider suit if you're looking for me on Twitter. Some of my YouTubes from here are on Twitter. Some of them are on Facebook, I think. But I can't get them to go to Instagram. I don't know how that works because Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same people. But, I mean, it is what it is. And I know, I'm off topic. But, getting back on topic, every casting call I've been to, prior to the last two before COVID, there's a list. And if you're not over 5'5" and you're a dude, you're probably not going to be on that list unless you're like cock, diesel, and buff. So you can slide through. I'm 5'3.5". My body's not that bad, but they don't know what I am. And so I'm not on their list. And I found this out the hard way because at the end, me and Jay Diz was talking to a dude at the Omni. He's like, dude, to be honest, there's a fucking list. There's 4 people on that list. So we call all of the you people in here. And by you people, he made like every ethnicity, every gender, every size and shape. So we could find someone as close as possible on that list. And then he looked at me and he said, Mr. Williams, you are not a bad looking man. Unfortunately, you are nowhere on that list. And when he said that, I was like, well, what do you mean? Because every time I've gone to these things, it's always something you can do or something that you should not do, but you can do to get their attention. So one, what you should not do under any circumstance whatsoever, don't cut your hair. Because I've cut my hair at least once or twice for these casting calls, only to be overlooked and be like, now they're looking for me with hair. So I'm like, I don't. They told me to go cut my hair, and then when I come back to the second one, it's like, yeah, your hair is too short. I was like, motherfucker, my hair was too long 30 minutes ago. Which goes to show you that they have not really looked at you, they've looked through you. But for me, when they've looked at me and they've explained to me certain things. Because, they have like two shows. So they'd have one show at like 1 p.m. to 3. And the next show would be like from 5 p.m. to 6 or 8. And I would be at the one, and they were like, yeah, if you go do this and that, we might give you a talk. And I go and do this and that, and then it's like, we don't even know who the fuck you are, dude. Were you here earlier? Yeah. You guys told me to go get a haircut. I went and got a haircut. And this has happened on more than one occasion, but the first time it happened was when they was making toy soldiers. The second time it happened was when they were making Major Payne. And then the third time it happened was for something else, and that's it, never again. And then when I joined the Army, they chopped it all off. But I didn't know that if you were part Native or if you were all Native, you didn't have to get a haircut. But my government-regulated birth certificate says that I'm black. So, therefore, they didn't have a title for us in the 70s. Anyway, moving on. So, as a person of color, there are stories that I can do as a Native that I can't do as a black man because I do not look black enough. I don't have enough black features. That's pretty much what it means. And when the man was explaining to me, he was like, yeah, you're not a bad looking man, but you're kind of short there, buddy. Average actor in Hollywood is like 5'5", 5'8", And like, except for you have those Goliaths like Schwarzenegger, who's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. So yeah, the shortest guy's like 5'5", 5'8". And that would be anywhere between Sylvester Stallone and Van Damme. And let's not forget that TV makes people look bigger than they actually are. Okay? So let's not forget that. But I went on and on and on. And I never gave up. I'm still not giving up. And I'm with 9-9. So hopefully they're sending people who are looking for someone who's native or indigenous looking to my channel. I do need to check in with 9-9. I haven't checked in a while other than making sure that I'm paying them. And I unfortunately have been stupid enough to not actually be using the services. So that's kind of on me. But school has been racking me. So I have to keep my schoolwork up. I know 9-9 will be there because I'm paying them. But for the moment, because math is so difficult, I have to do the math. Now, James Williams Jr. wasn't making any leeway. Echo Fang Grey Wolf, it's a name that people will remember versus James Williams Jr. There are a lot of Williamses in acting. Granted, 2 of them are black, so I don't want to not be able to get work because they hear the name Williams and they want to give it to the other Williams. The guy everybody loves, Chris, or the guy from like 21 Jump Street or something, where their last name is Williams. So I'm going to use my native heritage to my advantage, and I'm going to build myself out as a native. So now you understand why I have to build myself out as a native, because I'm not getting work as a black man. As a mixed man, not black enough to play a black character. And as a native, no one's really writing characters for a short native. But we're going to change that. And you guys are going to push me through all of it. So I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys for giving me this time. And I hope that I taught you something. And FYI, Miguel O'Hara is part Mexican, and Mexicans are part indigenous. So since people used to think I was Mexican all my life when I was a kid, give me the job. Come on, Marvel. Come on, Fox. I already got the suit. You guys can give me a better one, but I got the suit. So let's do it, eh? I am Echo Fang Grey Wolf. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Be seeing